Joining us, president and founder of the Eurasia Group and G0 Media, Ian Bremmer. So, Ian, you are of the mind that because very little came out of the summit, that actually might be a good thing. Explain.
Well, it's not a bad thing, right? In the sense that nobody broke anything. Trump is not the most coachable of executives out there. And yet, when he was asked repeatedly about Taiwan, his response is, don't want to talk about that, don't want to make news on that. The only thing he could have done better was reiterating the actual policy, the one China policy, the strategic ambiguity. I wouldn't have trusted him to do that well. He's not in the weeds on policy. So he handled what could have been a challenging situation that his own advisors were concerned about. He handled it well. On Iran, Marco Rubio said that the United States needed help from China, but Trump did not. He didn't look like a supplicant. He didn't look like he had hat in hand when he showed up to see Xi Jinping. And so, I mean, frankly, the fact that the headlines coming out of this summit are not very substantial on the trade front, on the semiconductor front, the rest, I am perfectly fine with that, Katie. I think this was a reasonable outcome for both presidents in the room.
What about the vow that the United States made back in the 80s not to consult with China on arms sales to Taiwan? He was a little weirder about that.
I agree. If you wanted me to point to things that were troublesome, if I was nitpicking here, and maybe I'm grading on a curve, it's a fair point. I wouldn't have wanted to say I'm prepared to discuss the nature of the arms sale with Xi Jinping. The devil of the details there will come out, and as long as these defense sales continue to go through, it means there's really no there. So I don't think that anything was broken, but I think if I were Taiwanese leadership or if I were on the Hill in Washington and one of the many members of Congress that strongly support Taiwan, I would certainly be watching this. I'd be concerned that perhaps Trump is prepared to intervene to reduce the nature of what the United States is providing to Taiwan on an ongoing basis.
One of the things that I would have expected to be more concerned about would be getting China to sign on to a non-proliferation deal on nuclear armaments. I know China wants to build up its stockpile to meet Russia and the U.S. before it even goes there. But what has surpassed that concern, at least for me, is whether both us and China and any other superpowers are now coming together to find an agreement on AI. Yes. You know, AI is in many ways much scarier than nukes at the moment. Was there any progress on that?
It's kind of startling to even say that, right? I mean, given, I remember when I was in high school and I watched The Day After and I had nightmares for months after that and thinking what would happen if there were nuclear launches. And now we're saying we think AI is even more of an existential threat potentially. And it's moving so quickly, and there's really no governance in place. And that's particularly concerning when you talk about the U.S. and China, which are involved in an arms race on AI. They are both rushing as fast as humanly possible for their own advantage. Now, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent did say that both countries agreed to start discussing, at least in trying to ensure that advanced and potentially dangerous AI capabilities would not be used by non-state actors, would not proliferate. It's a start. I want to see engagement, but I really want to see AI arms control between the Americans and the Chinese, the kind of things that the Americans and the Soviets did on nuclear weapons after 1962. After the Cuban Missile Crisis, after we almost blew ourselves up. So we are late to the game on this, and the steps that we have seen so far in the last couple of days are really, really limited.
Yeah, what's scary is not so much the government's having control over it, it's the non-state actors getting access to this stuff and messing everyone up.
Even the American companies, frankly. I mean, I'm not sure I necessarily trust all of these AI companies to be in charge of things that are fundamentally dangerous to the security of critical infrastructure, for example.
It's like a bunch of private companies developing nukes.
Yeah, well, anything. I mean, anyone that's been in AI presentations see the extraordinary advances in material science and in genetics that not scientists, that coders who don't have scientific background are making with advanced AI models. And that's extraordinary for human longevity. It's extraordinary for productivity. But then you have to ask yourself, well, what happens when these same tools are in the hands of people that we don't trust? And the answer is kind of unspeakable. So, I mean, clearly we don't have the governance that we will very, very shortly need.
Oh, God. I was looking for something hopeful, and that was not it. It's not it, Ian Bremmer.
If you want.
Oh, I mean, okay, give me something hopeful. You got 30 seconds.
Something hopeful is the two most powerful countries in the world are both trying to commit to mutual stability in their relationship. And a year ago, they were talking about a trade boycott. That interdependence is the best news that the global economy could have seen in the last 48 hours.